more foggy or less driven lately. This isn't random. Your body may be running a critical system without one of its most important controls. Zinc regulates immunity, hormones, and cellular repair because it sits at the center of how the human body communicates, defends itself, and renews its tissues at a microscopic level. Every second, millions of cells are dividing, repairing damage, responding to threats, and sending signals, and zinc acts like a silent coordinator, ensuring those processes happen accurately rather than chaotically. From a biological perspective, zinc is not optional support, it is structural. More than 300 enzymes require zinc to function, meaning without adequate zinc, core chemical reactions slow down or fail entirely. This is why zinc deficiency does not create one single problem, but instead weakens the entire system at once. In the immune system, zinc determines whether your defenses respond with precision or confusion. Immune cells such as T lymphocytes, natural killer cells, and macrophages depend on zinc to mature, activate, and communicate effectively. When zinc levels are sufficient, these cells identify threats quickly, neutralize pathogens efficiently, and shut down inflammation once the job is done. When zinc is low, the immune response becomes delayed, weaker, and often excessive. The body may struggle to fight infections while simultaneously producing chronic inflammation that damages healthy tissue. This is why people with low zinc often experience frequent colds, slow recovery, lingering fatigue after illness, and inflammatory conditions that seem unrelated on the surface. Hormonal regulation is equally dependent on zinc, especially for individuals concerned with energy, confidence, metabolism, and long-term performance. Zinc plays a critical role in the production, activation, and receptor sensitivity of multiple hormones, including insulin, thyroid hormones, cortisol, and sex hormones. In men, zinc is essential for testosterone synthesis and sperm quality, while in women it supports estrogen balance and ovulatory function. When zinc levels drop, hormone signaling becomes inefficient. The body may still produce hormones, but the cells stop responding properly. This leads to symptoms that are often misattributed to stress or aging, such as low motivation, reduced mental drive, weight gain, mood instability, poor sleep quality, and diminished resilience under pressure. At the cellular level, zinc is one of the primary guardians of DNA integrity. Every cell divides. Its genetic material must be copied accurately. Zinc-dependent enzymes are responsible for repairing DNA damage caused by oxidative stress, environmental toxins, and normal metabolic processes. Without enough zinc, these repair mechanisms weaken, allowing errors to accumulate. Over time, this accelerates cellular aging, increases vulnerability to chronic disease, and reduces the body's ability to regenerate tissue efficiently. This is particularly important for skin health, gut lining integrity, and neurological tissue, all of which rely on constant renewal. Zinc also plays a key role in controlling inflammation, which is the biological link between poor health and reduced performance. Short-term inflammation is necessary for healing, but chronic inflammation drains inner GY, clouds thinking, and increases disease risk. Zinc helps regulate inflammatory pathways by modulating cytokine production and antioxidant defenses. Adequate zinc allows the body to turn inflammation on when needed and off when the threat is resolved. Low zinc leaves inflammation running in the background, quietly consuming resources that could otherwise be used for growth, learning, and product. From a self-education and financial perspective, this regulation matters because biological efficiency directly influences mental performance. Cognitive functions such as attention, memory formation, emotional regulation, and decision-making all rely on zinc-dependent neurotransmitter systems. Zinc modulates glutamate and GABA signaling in the brain, which affects focus, impulse control, and stress tolerance. A zinc-deficient brain is more reactive, less patient, and more prone to mental fatigue. Over time, this undermines the ability to plan long-term, resist short-term impulses, and maintain consistent discipline, all of which are essential for financial stability and personal growth. Cellular repairs, where zinc's long-term impact becomes most visible. Everyday muscles expert. Microdamage. The gut lining renews itself, skin cells turn over, and blood vessels repair minor injuries. Zinc is required for collagen synthesis, wound healing, and tissue regeneration. Without it, recovery slows and vulnerability increases. This is why low zinc is associated with slow healing wounds, hair thinning, brittle nails, digestive issues, and a general sense that the body does know. Bounce back the way it used to. These are not cosmetic issues. They are signals that repair systems are underfunded. What makes zinc especially important is that the body does not store large reserves of it. Daily intake and absorption matter. Stress, poor sleep, high sugar intake, alcohol, and chronic illness all increase zinc loss, meaning modern lifestyles quietly increase demand while reducing supply. Over time, the body prioritizes survival functions, diverting zinc away from optimization processes like hormone balance and cellular renewal. The individual may continue functioning, but at a reduced capacity that feels normal until compared to true biological balance. Understanding zinc's role is not about fear or obsession with supplements. It is about recognizing that peak perform. Ants, resilience, and longevity are built on invisible foundations. Immunity, hormonal clarity, and cellular repair determine how well a person can learn, adapt, and execute over decades rather than months. A well-regulated body supports a focused mind, and a focused mind makes better decisions. Zinc sits quietly at that intersection, influencing outcomes far beyond what most people ever connect to. A single mineral. Zinc deficiency disrupts energy, metabolism, and brain function because zinc is deeply embedded in how the body converts resources into usable power and how the brain interprets signals that guide behavior, focus, and motivation. Energy is not simply about calories or sleep. It is the result of thousands of chemical reactions occurring efficiently inside cells. Zinc is required for enzymes that control carbohydrate, fat, and protein metabolism, meaning it helps decide whether food becomes fuel or metabolic waste. When zinc levels fall, these reactions slow and become inefficient, forcing the body to work harder to produce the same amount of energy, which is why persistent fatigue can exist even when nutrition and rest seem adequate. At the metabolic level, zinc plays a key role in insulin production, storage, and signaling. Insulin is the hormone that allows glucose to move from the bloodstream into cells where it can be used for energy. Zinc stabilizes insulin molecules and improves the sensitivity of insulin receptors on cell membranes. When zinc is low, insulin signaling becomes less effective, leading to unstable blood sugar levels. This instability creates cycles of energy crashes, cravings, irritability, and mental fog that are often misinterpreted as poor willpower or stress. Over time, inefficient insulin signaling increases the risk of weight gain, metabolic syndrome, and type 2 diabetes, all of which further drain energy and cognitive clarity. Mitochondria, the structures inside cells responsible for producing ATP, the body's energy currency, also rely on zinc-dependent enzymes to function optimally. When zinc is insufficient, mitochondrial efficiency declines, reducing the amount of ATP produced from each unit of fuel. This means muscles fatigue faster, physical endurance drops, and mental stamina weakens. Tasks that once felt manageable begin to feel exhausting, not because of laziness, but because the biological machinery that genera TS energy is underperforming. Chronic low energy gradually reshapes behavior, reducing ambition, consistency, and the willingness to invest effort into long-term goals. The brain is particularly sensitive to zinc imbalance because zinc acts as a neuromodulator in key areas responsible for learning, memory, emotional regulation, and decision-making. Zinc influences synaptic plasticity, the process by which connections between neurons strengthen or weaken in response to experience. Adequate zinc supports efficient communication between neurons, allowing the brain to adapt, learn new information, and maintain mental flexibility. When zinc is deficient, synaptic signaling becomes less precise, slowing information processing and reducing cognitive sharpness. This manifests as forgetfulness, difficulty concentrating, and a sense that thinking requires more effort than it should. Zinc also regulates neurotransmitters that control mood and stress responses, including dopamine and serotonin. Dopamine is closely linked to motivation, reward anticipation, and goal-directed behavior, while serotonin influences emotional stability and impulse control. Low zinc disrupts the balance of these Symptoms leading to reduced motivation, low mood, increased anxiety, and a diminished sense of reward from effort. This biochemical shift can quietly erode discipline and consistency, making it harder to sustain habits related to self-education, financial planning, or skill development. Cognitive fatigue caused by zinc deficiency is not sudden or dramatic, it accumulates slowly. Decision-making becomes more reactive, patience decreases, and the ability to delay gratification weakens. From a financial and personal growth perspective, this is critical because long-term success depends on repeated small decisions made with clarity and restraint. A brain operating with suboptimal zinc levels is more likely to seek immediate relief through distractions or impulsive choices, not because of key character, but because the neural systems that support self-control are under-resourced. Zinc deficiency also amplifies the effects of stress on both energy and brain function. Stress hormones such as cortisol increase zinc excretion, while low zinc further heightens the stress response, creating a self-reinforcing cycle. Elevated cortisol impairs memory, disrupts sleep, and promotes fat storage, all of which worsen metabolic health and mental performance. Over time, this cycle can make individuals feel stuck, overwhelmed, and unable to regain momentum despite effort and intention. Another often overlooked effect of low zinc is impaired oxygen utilization at the cellular level. Zinc supports enzymes involved in antioxidant defense, protecting mitochondria and neurons from oxidative damage. When this protection weakens, oxidative stress accumulates, further reducing energy production and accelerating cognitive decline. This contributes to the feeling of mental burnout that persists even after rest, as the brain struggles to maintain performance under continuous biochemical strain. Modern lifestyles intensify these effects. Diets high in refined carbohydrates and low in mineral dense foods reduce zinc intake, while alcohol consumption, chronic inflammation, and poor gut health impair absorption. Even individuals who consume adequate calories may be functionally zinc deficient at the cellular level. The result is a body that appears nourished but operates inefficiently, slowly sacrificing energy and mental clarity. Understanding the role of zinc in energy, metabolism, and brain function reframes fatigue and cognitive decline as biological signals rather than personal failures. When the systems that convert food into energy and thoughts into action are compromised, productivity and learning suffer. Restoring zinc balance is not about chasing quick fixes, but about rebuilding the biochemical foundation that allows sustained effort, clear thinking, and disciplined Rest over time. Chronic low zinc accelerates aging and inflammation because zinc is one of the body's primary regulators of repair, protection, and controlled immune activation. And when it is missing for long periods, damage accumulates faster than the body can correct it. Aging at the biological level is not simply the passage of time, it is the gradual loss of cellular accuracy, resilience, and recovery capacity. Zinc plays a critical role in maintaining these qualities by supporting antioxidant defenses, DNA repair enzymes, and immune balance. When zinc intake or absorption remains low over months or years, the systems designed to slow biological aging begin to fail quietly. One of the most important anti-aging functions of zinc is its involvement in protecting cells from oxidative stress. Every metabolic process generates free radicals, unstable molecules that damage proteins, lipids, and DNA. Zinc is a structural component of superoxide dismutase, one of the body's most powerful antioxidant enzymes. This enzyme neutralizes free radicals before they can cause widespread damage. With chronically low zinc, antioxidant defenses weaken, allowing oxidative stress to accumulate. This damages cell membranes, disrupts mitochondrial function, and accelerates the deterioration of tissues that require constant renewal, such as skin, blood vessels, and the nervous system. Inflammation is the biological bridge between zinc deficiency and accelerated aging. Acute inflammation is a healing response, but chronic inflammation is destructive. Zinc helps regulate inflammatory signaling by controlling the production and activity of cytokines, the chemical messengers of the immune system. Adequate zinc allows inflammation to rise when needed and resolve once the threat is gone. Chronic zinc deficiency removes this control mechanism. The immune system becomes overactive yet ineffective. producing persistent low-grade inflammation that damages healthy tissue while failing to provide efficient protection. This inflammatory environment accelerates aging at the cellular and systemic level. Persistent inflammation fueled by low zinc affects blood vessels, joints, the brain, and metabolic organs. In the cardiovascular system, chronic inflammation damages the inner lining of arteries, increasing stiffness and reducing elasticity. This impairs blood flow and oxygen delivery, which further stresses tissues and accelerates functional decline. In joints and connective tissue, inflammation increases breakdown and slows repair, contributing to stiffness, pain, and reduced mobility that many people accept as inevitable signs of aging. In reality, these changes are often amplified by years of mineral imbalance. The brain is particularly vulnerable to the combined effect of oxidative stress and inflammation. Zinc plays a role in protecting neurons from excitotoxicity, a process in which excessive stimulation damages nerve cells. Chronic zinc deficiency weakens this protection, allowing inflammatory processes to impair synaptic function and accelerate cognitive aging. This contributes to memory decline, slower information processing, and reduced mental flexibility. Over time, the brain's ability to adapt and recover from stress diminishes, making learning and emotional regulation more difficult. At the genetic level, zinc is essential for enzymes involved in DNA repair and for proteins that stabilize DNA structure. Every day, DNA is damaged by environmental toxins, metabolic byproducts, and normal cellular activity. Zinc-dependent repair mechanisms identify and correct these errors, preserving cellular integrity. Chronic low zinc reduces the efficiency of these repairs, allowing genetic damage to accumulate. This accumulation is a hallmark of aging and increases vulnerability to chronic disease. Cells with damaged DNA either function poorly or enter senescence, a state in which they no longer divide, but continue to release inflammatory signals, further fueling systemic inflammation. Zinc deficiency also disrupts hormonal systems that influence aging. Hormones such as growth hormone, insulin-like growth factor, thyroid hormones, and sex hormones all play roles in tissue maintenance and repair. Zinc supports hormone production and receptor sensitivity, allowing these signals to promote regeneration rather than decline. When zinc remains low, hormonal signaling becomes less effective, shifting the body toward conservation and breakdown rather than renewal. Muscle mass declines, fat accumulation increases, and recovery from physical or mental stress slows, all of which contribute to the outward and inward signs of aging. From a long-term performance and self-education perspective, accelerated aging driven by chronic inflammation has profound consequences. Inflammation consumes energy, disrupts sleep, impairs focus, and reduces stress tolerance. Over time, this erodes the capacity for sustained effort and disciplined learning. Goals that require consistency over years become harder to pursue as the body and mind fatigue more quickly. The individual may feel older than their chronological age, not because of time itself, but because the biological systems that preserve vitality have been undermined. Modern lifestyles increase the risk of chronic zinc deficiency and its inflammatory consequences. Diets low in whole foods, high in refined carbohydrates, and deficient in minerals reduce zinc intake. Chronic psychological stress increases zinc loss through urine and sweat. Poor gut health impairs absorption. Together, SE factors create a slow cumulative deficit that may go unnoticed for years while aging and inflammation quietly accelerate. Understanding that aging is influenced by nutritional regulation rather than inevitability reframes responsibility and opportunity. Zinc does not stop time, but it supports the systems that allow the body to age more slowly and with greater resilience. Chronic low zinc shifts the body toward damage, inflammation, and decline, while adequate zinc supports repair, balance, and long-term functional capacity. Poor absorption and modern diets increase deficiency risk because zinc availability is determined not only by how much is consumed, but by how effectively it is absorbed, transported, and retained within the body. Many people assume deficiency only occurs with OBV, iOS malnutrition, yet science shows that functional zinc deficiency is increasingly common even among individuals who eat regularly and consume supplements. The issue lies in the interaction between modern food systems, digestive health, and lifestyle factors that quietly reduce zinc bioavailability over time. Zinc absorption occurs primarily in the small intestine and depends on an intact gut lining, sufficient stomach acid, and the presence of supportive nutrients. Modern diets often undermine all three. Highly processed foods lack the natural cofactors that aid mineral absorption, while excessive intake of refined carbohydrates, seed oils, and additives can damage the gut lining and alter the microbiome. When intestinal cells are inflamed or compromise their ability to transport zinc into the bloodstream declines, regardless of how much zinc is present in the diet. This creates a situation where intake appears adequate on paper, but cells remain undersupplied. A major dietary factor affecting zinc absorption is the presence of phytates, naturally occurring compounds found in high amounts in refined grains, legumes, and some plant-based foods. Phytates bind to zinc in the digestive tract, forming complexes that the body cannot absorb. Traditional food preparation methods such as soaking, fermenting, and sprouting reduce phytate content, but modern food processing often skips these steps. As a result, individuals who rely heavily on bread, cereals, and processed plant foods may consume zinc that never becomes biologically available. This is especially relevant for those following restrictive or unbalanced diets without proper nutritional planning. Stomach acid plays a critical role in releasing zinc from food so it can be absorbed. Chronic stress, aging, and the widespread use of acid-suppressing medications reduce stomach acid production. Low stomach acid impairs the digestion of protein-rich foods, which are major sources of bioavailable zinc, such as meat, eggs, and seafood. When zinc remains bound within undigested food, it passes through the digestive system unused. Over time, this contributes to gradual depletion even in individuals who believe they are eating well. Gut inflammation and dysbiosis further compound absorption problems. Antibiotic use, chronic stress, alcohol consumption, and diets low in fiber diversity disrupt the balance of beneficial gut bacteria. This imbalance affects the integrity of the intestinal barrier and interferes with mineral transport mechanisms. Zinc itself is essential for maintaining the gut lining, so deficiency and poor absorption reinforce each other in a vicious cycle. As zinc levels drop, gut health worsens, further reducing absorption efficiency. Modern lifestyles also increase zinc loss, making absorption issues more impactful. Chronic psychological stress elevates cortisol levels, which increase zinc excretion through urine. Intense physical activity, excessive sweating, and frequent illness further deplete zinc stores. Diets high in sugar and alcohol accelerate zinc loss and interfere with its metabolism. When losses increase while absorption declines, even moderate deficiencies can develop rapidly and persist unnoticed. Food quality has also changed significantly. Soil depletion resulting from industrial farming practices has reduced the mineral content of many crops. Foods that once provided meaningful amounts of zinc now contain less, requiring larger quantities to meet physiological needs. At the same time, people consume fewer whole foods and more ultra-processed products that are calorie-dense but micronutrient poor. This combination creates a subtle but widespread nutrient gap that affects populations across socioeconomic levels. The misconception that supplementation automatically corrects deficiency further obscures the problem. Zinc supplements vary widely in form and bioavailability, and they still rely on a functioning digestive system for absorption. Without addressing gut health, stomach acid, and dietary inhibitors, supplements may offer limited benefit. In some cases, improper supplementation can create imbalances with other minerals, such as copper, further complicating the body's ability to regulate zinc effectively. From a long-term performance and self-education perspective, poor absorption represents an invisible drain on potential. The body may appear nourished, but at the cellular level, critical processes operate below capacity. Energy production, immune resilience, hormonal signaling, and cognitive function all suffer when zinc delivery to cells is inconsistent. This undermines consistency, focus, and adaptability, traits essential for sustained learning and financial stability. Modern diets and absorption challenges do not Eat immediate illness, they create gradual erosion. The body adapts by prioritizing survival functions, diverting zinc away from optimization processes such as repair, regeneration, and cognitive performance. Individuals may normalize fatigue, brain fog, and slow recovery, unaware that the root cause lies not in effort or age, but in a chronic mismatch between intake and absorption. Recognizing T. Key role of absorption and diet shifts the focus from blame to strategy. Addressing zinc deficiency requires more than adding nutrients. It requires restoring the conditions that allow the body to use them effectively. Without this understanding, modern diets continue to quietly increase deficiency risk, limiting health, performance, and long-term resilience. Correct zinc intake restores resilience and long-term health, because zinc functions as a foundational regulator that allows the body to adapt, recover, and maintain balance under physical, mental, and environmental stress. Resilience is not the absence of stress or illness, it is the ability to absorb strain, repair damage, and return to equilibrium. Zinc directly supports this process by enabling efficient immune responses, stable hormonal signaling, controlled inflammation, and continuous cellular renewal. When zinc intake is corrected and maintained at appropriate levels, the body regains its capacity to respond intelligently rather than reactively. One of the most immediate effects of restoring zinc intake is improved immune precision. Rather than simply boosting immunity, zinc refines it. Immune cells become better at distinguishing real threats from harmless signals, reducing unnecessary inflammation while improving pathogen clearance. This balance conserves energy and minimizes collateral tissue damage. Over time, fewer infections, shorter illness duration, and faster recovery reflect a system that is resilient rather than overworked. This efficiency becomes increasingly important with age, as immune dysregulation is a major driver of chronic disease and decline. Hormonal systems also regain stability with correct zinc intake. Zinc supports hormone synthesis, storage, and receptor sensitivity, ensuring that signals are not only produced, but effectively received by target tissues. Balanced insulin signaling improves metabolic flexibility, allowing the body to switch efficiently between energy sources. Thyroid hormones function more consistently, supporting temperature regulation, mental clarity, and baseline energy. Sex hormones regain their regulatory role in tissue maintenance, mood, and motivation. This hormonal coherence supports both physical vitality and psychological resilience, reducing the volatility that undermines long-term consistency. At the cellular level, correct zinc intake restores the machinery responsible for repair and regeneration. Zinc-dependent enzymes resume their role in DNA repair, protein synthesis, and antioxidant defense. Cells become more capable of correcting errors before they accumulate into dysfunction. Mitochondria operate more efficiently, producing energy with less oxidative damage. Tissues with high turnover, such as the gut lining, skin, immune cells, regenerate more effectively, strengthening barriers and reducing systemic stress. This continuous maintenance is what separates gradual decline from sustainable health. Inflammation becomes more controlled when zinc intake is adequate. Rather than existing in a constant low-grade inflammatory state, the body learns to resolve inflammatory responses once their purpose is fulfilled. This reduces wear on blood vessels, joints, and neural tissue. Lower inflammatory burden translates into better mobility, clearer thinking, and improved emotional regulation. Over years, this shift significantly influences the trajectory of aging, slowing the progression of degenerative changes that are often accepted as inevitable. Correct zinc intake also enhances stress tolerance. Zinc plays a role in modulating the stress response by influencing cortisol dynamics and neurotransmitter balance. With sufficient zinc, the body recovers more quickly after stress, and the brain maintains better emotional control. This resilience reduces the cumulative damage caused by chronic stress, preserving cognitive function and motivation. Individuals find it easier to maintain routines, pursue long-term goals, ALS, and adapt to challenges without burning out. From a self-education and financial perspective, restored biological resilience has compounding benefits. Clearer thinking, stable energy, and emotional balance support better decision-making and learning capacity. The ability to focus consistently, delay gratification, and manage uncertainty depends on neural systems that function optimally under zinc deficiency. Over time, this translates into improved productivity, more disciplined habits, and greater capacity to invest effort into skill development and planning. Long-term health is not maintained by dramatic interventions, but by sustained alignment between the body's needs and its resources. Correct zinc intake represents this principle in action. It is not about excess or aggressive supplementation, but about meeting physiological requirements consistently while supporting absorption and balance with other nutrients. When zinc intake aligns with the body's demands, systems operate closer to their design parameters, reducing the likelihood of breakdown. As resilience is restored, the body shifts from a defensive posture to a regenerative one. Energy previously consumed by chronic inflammation and inefficient repair becomes available for growth, learning, and adaptation. This shift is subtle but powerful, influencing daily experience and long-term outcomes alike. Over years and decades, correct zinc intake supports a trajectory of health characterized not by the absence of challenges, but by the capacity to recover from them and continue functioning at a high level. Zinc is not a trend, a shortcut, or a miracle cure. It is a quiet regulator that determines how well the body protects itself, repairs itself, and sustains performance over time. When zinc is low, immunity weakens, hormones lose clarity, energy fades, inflammation accelerates aging, and the mind struggles to maintain focus and discipline. When zinc is restored correctly, these systems regain coordination. The body becomes more resilient, recovery becomes more efficient, and long-term health shifts from gradual decline toward sustainable strength. Understanding this is not about fear, but about awareness. Health, like knowledge and wealth, is built through small, consistent investments made before damage becomes visible. Zinc represents one of those foundational investments, often ignored yet deeply influential. Those who learn how their biology truly works gain the ability to protect their energy, sharpen their thinking, and support a future defined by stability rather than struggle. Thank you for taking the time to invest in your understanding and your health. Knowledge applied with consistency creates lasting change. Wishing you clarity, strength, and steady progress on your journey forward. Good luck and take care.